kan no Kofi Tonto wa ha Atik Mohammed wa lawyer Chum Berema e wa ha o adwentra 0548 443 523 0548 443 523. Your WhatsApp number, and no, just keep the messages coming through, and I would share them with the rest of the world. Or online, oko myjoyonline.com and adomonline.com. Ubetimi etie in live. Ewo ho intimisel Shenenson MIA. Obiba, the OSP made it clear in the report that influence peddling is not a crime in our laws in Ghana, and he even suggested we open up as a nation and discuss how we can make it a crime in our laws. Lawyer Samson Ayenini even discussed the whole report on his show yesterday. That's on Samson's Take, I suppose. Where Amin also in Sawem. Okay, let me see.
No, see. And Samson's discussion was what?
No, one far and one back. He just said, say, or discuss it on the show.
No, you see, the OSP is not there to prosecute criminal offences under the Criminal and Other Offences Act.
Mm-hmm.
Now, actually, it's clear near SO or yeah. So don't say you can say influence peddling is not an offence under the Criminal and Other Offences Act. OSP, Nejuma is very good kind of act now. It says Nejuma is to investigate and prosecute corruption and corruption related offences. And what is corruption? Is it only reduced to bribery?
Mm-hmm.
And it's just only conflict of interest. There are forms of corruption. And it is the OSP telling us that influence peddling is not a form of corruption. Because on Mekisa point that is when you can then proceed to say it is not covered by your act.
Yeah.
And my contention is it would be weird. In fact, I would have loved say Ube CDD for or anybody working in the anti-corruption space.
Mm-hmm.
Now be some say what are the forms of corruption? And I gave you an indication say when you go to the Serious Fraud Office in the UK, they have taken their time to define the forms of corruption. And in other jurisdictions, there are such definitions.
But we have not.
No.
And that's why now it's left to his discretion.
No. Corruption is a universal crime.
Yes.
Are you going to tell me, say, war crimes? For example, near war crime in Ghana has a different definition from... Exactly.
There are specific provisions in our laws for those universal crimes.
Good.
You understand?
You see?
And I think... is it the Court Act section 57 or 56, one of them? You know, into those universal crimes, and our laws make provision for those.
Good. Now, maybe what was the corruption? I said, I'm re-emphasizing the same point in this. Which corruption is origin is as a governance construct before it became, a crime. I shall say it was used to measure good governance.
Yes.
How corrupt your country is indicates whether there is good governance or not. What you must say. Then from look, Edi or Maina and Amamainya. So what do? We criminalized it. And corruption in all its forms. You can't say corruption has been criminalized. It means corruption in all its forms. So. And yet some bits and pieces of it. So you can't say, we are dealing with, because corruption involves bribery is a form of it, conflict of interest is a form of it. We are just sticking to just these two. OSHA Act now, it has not specified which forms of corruption. It just says corruption and corruption related offenses.
Okay.
And what I find very strange, and it's we have not defined corruption in our context until influence peddling and count. I might as well say any bribery and count. What was here? Even though bribery is an offense under the criminal offenses and other offenses act. When you bring it to corruption, it is an offense. We could have just said, since bribery is an offense, and your corruption is a different case. But it's a form of corruption. Intina, OB, you can prosecute. The OSP can prosecute somebody for engaging in bribery.
Yes.
Otherwise, you'd have said, no, let the Attorney General be the one to do the prosecution.
The other challenge would be, and because we are all educating ourselves, if the OSP decides to prosecute, say, for influence peddling, it should come under a law. You understand? And that law, should be spelled out in black and white. This is an offense, consequence for that offense, Because you cannot go to court with that omnibus where you say corruption in the I think this is corruption without stating a specific law.
The act Mibao Okokota, all right. Under what law does he prosecute his cases? Is it not the act?
The OSP Act and all the other acts make it provisions for offences.
So, which law in Ghana criminalizes conflict of interest?
As to say no cry
exactly
crime and no cry
but it's a
and that's why
Shraj Act no
no investigation.
That's an act Shraj is there for.
So
the whole thing is this. The constitution is very clear.
Yes.
And sana bibi be ya bone no. I was saying maybe ya body.
Absolutely.
Consequence. Yes.
Obati kasmo e bone. Nti obo na so na ye chewa. Ese do tom na nsa.
Yes.
And I say final sika e bia 10 Ghana cedis.
Yes. Or penalty unit or whatever. Yeah.
What is it?
11 5 11 7.
Yeah.
Very good. Article 11.
Article 11, yeah.
Exactly. So SP na someone say see it here influence peddling any Ghana mrabia mu say
bone
esin fans woni ensa no kan o see enye corruption on can say enye mrabia ni ho a that na o say enye corruption.
Hold on, I would remember
upon which basis he can't proceed.
Yeah, but say no okay. So I'm define it.
I was say what can say any company corruption.
Yes.
May a program be political leadership, and in it corruption was defined. So one or two of the definitions. This is a definition cited by Rose Ackman. What defined corruption as was it is the misuse of public power.
Is the
private
that's the basic definition, yes.
Anna Johnson M. also defined itself as abuse of public roles or resources for private benefits. I mean, the other definition, even if it's a World Bank as you definition.
Yes.
So in simple terms, in add yes, okay definition is the okay linking to the idea just a one year, Watumara. It's ya. Two. One fan of corruption, Punwa, which I say corruption related
offenses.
Yes.
Sure.
Good. And you say, we would say extortion. Can it lead to corruption? Does it relate to corruption? Say related to corruption, then what does the law also say about extortion? Now you can brought into that point, and I would then link you to some letter now was signed here. Also, some issue letter be on that statement, and some letter no. I mean, yes, I'm
okay.
In that letter, some the criminal and other offences act. I'm not left here extortion. From it, no matter the definition, I think by 287 or 281 of that section. Saying explaining what extortion means. And what definition sorry, that's explanation and law no my no. Now so far be see the facts or the charge here and
it falls on all fours.
Exactly. And case here nti say canon kun dia and I was prosecuted dia obi. And e ka be bi e dia kan. Okay? And ka be bi dia kan. But you see to just say so because I was looking for this name you wanted here. I mean, you haven't told chain. That is where many no issues.
Yeah, but I don't also think, sir, because if he says, the offense of influence peddling, enya dia or no pay the reading of his act, no, a bit my offense or no be investigate here. So no interest, it closes the door.
When you ask me to come to this studio and get you this your phone, you try to be about.
Yes.
Not some ba. Not my phone. Be a man who become by the same man who phone as we buy phone now. Not more you be a Nazan casse. Me am far phone one. The charge of stealing may not come in the water.
Yes.
Good. But say once Mamma Sam demo. If you have a production. And me mommy be studio ha. And a phone abayira. Wouldn't say even those one who phone woman you can still charge for unlawful entry. So that
yes.
Stealing there would mean why national friends in the Belcas and they would mean enter you. But unlawful entry is there because one permitted me to enter the studio.
Yes.
So that's it.
Yes.
And the American added to article the end say even though I mean we all know say influence peddling is not in our laws as it stands now.
Yes.
But the other thing that you could have linked is Act 2.
I was anka
correct.
Very well.
But I mean, you turn a blind eye to those other things.
Very well.
And say, oh, say this. Anyway, today
I think it's clear. I think maybe we would wait for your petition to His Excellency the President.
Exactly.
And we'll take it from there. Now, I said the ABC Ako.
Petition.
Oh, enche cry. No, be jam me na say o do come. Let's uncle do so.
Uncle do so you mean ya.
And the Ghana why.
Edima
on a lighter note, yeah.
Elections no.
Yeah, Kofi, now let's deal with the elections.
Yeah, sure.
And in Sema Efrimu Abba, the new leader for your party and your opportunity to deliver on the first address to party people and to the rest of Ghana. What do you think? In the Abu Baba what your conversations, a free speech, the and all of that. It was saying.
Obi medase. Edi kan Yura Mahmoud Baumia ebebo na baso. Se ye kasai be se mfie dunsia ni na Mampanyi Akufo-Addo edi party enim in opposition and in power. Ansa na Yura J Kufuor in a deep party enim. Ene to me na be share Yura Mahmoud Baumia ansa. Asudi kese da na so pa. Se obeka party ni nyina boom. Na akwantu a eda enim ne yetimi etu. Na saa tumi abeka ne nsei abayen kaidum kese nso ye party nim efri say brofokasam waseti some records edi kan wo hwe mpanyinfo o ma pre tumi wo ye party mu a oni panyi a odi kan a wonya abado no dodo kese pa in terms of percentage points oni ne nya no mu dodo pa 61%. O share the papa Dubo ahen ya papa J Kufuor and ya papa ye Akufo-Addo nya na say Yura Baumia edi anim the first time okwa onya saa number no. Let me qualify it. Etosun bio another history I was setting so and say obi a ofri baby main kind of sample the northern
part of the
country and they ononso abedi part in
Anyway,
I hope so can
me who something
when will be before from
and it reinforces point to be a
lawyer
chum make here but your daruma.
Oh sure.
And this is an article written by, it's actually a paper written by one Stephen D. Morris.
Okay,
I think it was published in 2011. But listen to this. This is just for collective education. Or see, but beyond bribery, I'm just reading a portion so people would understand. But beyond bribery, corruption also includes kickbacks, which operate much like a bribe, but where the illegal payment is made after the service is rendered, usually from a portion of the governmental award itself. No person like how corruption, occurs.
Sure.
And the other one, he proceeds an extortion. So the first is kickbacks. The second is an extortion, where the public official threatens to use or abuse state power to induce the payment of a bribe. And that's precisely what happened in this case. What is here? So extortion is actually, in fact, beyond influence peddling. Extortion itself is even a form of corruption.
And extortion is covered by Act 29.
Exactly.
And that's
so
where
the point I don't make
Sample,
even if you decided, say, conflict of influence peddling, you think it's not a form of corruption. Extortions were.
Okay.
What's my say? And that's besides and I just saw and I wanted to reinforce that point.
Very well.
Yeah.
Yes, Kofi.
Enti eno so ye ade ba ko a ewo ho. Menya data no 1992 era Dubo ahenya 56.6%.
On his first attempt.
Okay. 1996 era Kufuor 51.9%. 2007 era Akufo-Addo 47.97%. We know e instructive because that time ni otumi the ne wa ban mu and na ye pick and ni foforo to 47.97%. And Ira Mahmoud Bawumia, first attempt, first victory. I think say be Ira Dubuahe, the end be slightly different kakra, but President Kufuor ne one more makano na kakra. Enti and also another history one make ansana wasa koye Muslimi ni a odikan a osabedi party nso anim. Obi the asem we nya kan say MPP party no fititititititititi Ghana party. A party a ejina ho ma Ghana ni bia. A party a ejina ma so ye Srimni, so ye Santini, so ye Muslimi ni, so ye Christo ni, so ye Oba, so ye Bema. Party we ejina ho ma. Na same way nso sa kan sem foforo. Obi sa me metie me babunu 1992 yeti party na me ni ha. Na me akra. Enso sa hyansudie we ya hyansudie a kire se yem party no ejina ho ma adwumaden ni osom. Emfa ho ne baabi a wo fi se wo ye adwumaden na wo som party na party ni be reward you. Enya hyansudie bebre era Justin Kodua is an example. Penyimfo bebre nso aba omaye examples. Inti we abetoso so ye oba, so ye bema, so ye Santini, so ye Kremoni, so ye Deni, so ye adwumaden som wo MPP party no mu MPP party no will reward you. For me, that was one of the most significant stories image ye memeneda. That was one of the most significant. I say maybe era John Dramani Mahama kan sembi. Asamo kan say MPP mudie obesuma sum se woye obi a onya kan ni a obesum ni ato atwene. Gidi sa kai sa asem no. Na ya rahosam kese efi se ni nsam a okan no na ni nyina so na ano no e na enyini nyina so so ne na asem okan no se wo de toto the facts ho a samre no tama na yewura Dubuahin ejina tama na yewura Akufo ejina tama na yewura Ekufuado ejina na was there obia na onya kan ni a na owo force a na esene omo ana bajowati ase. Of course yewura Ekufuado mre sukra de yewura Aliu Mahama yiniti, but the question is influencer na sa time no yewura Aliu Mahama wo versus ene sebe yewura Mahmoud Bawumia. You can see say yewura Mahmoud Bawumia de no ye different kakra. So o stand it tall. Nya say yewura Aliu Mahama some party anya adwuma de o ye adwuma den. But you can easily argue say yewura Mahmoud Bawumia in the Fourth Republic vice president wa dance no in every aspect of it. Vice president wa dance. And he became a force. He rather became the force obiaye den eko compete with. In other instances, now the forces were or happened to be account people. It wasn't deliberate. And the party naturally said, "Neya obia onya kan ni yi no ho a or show the force, the competence, the leadership. Or ye bibia ebesi ani no, the party has rewarded him." Yan she say ye ko to aba ye to aba ma competence, ye to aba ma hard work, ye to aba ma sacrifice. And only I see a hine for ne to aba ma no. And only a reshemu kesi aminyae. To kan ye see ye wo no tamale. Obi a wo free wale. Now no de anka politics in podie. Na 16 years or joining a party. Wetimi abedi party nanim. Enti ene bebunu bia o bebia no. Se wo ye adwumaden ɛmfa ho sɛ papa wo party mu ɛmfa ho sɛ wo free Kumasi ɛmfa ho sɛ wo free ho ɛmfa ho sɛ wo free Gambaga sɛ wo yɛ adwumaden som party ɛbrɛ wo ho ase yɛ deɛ sɛ wo yɛ nyinaa ka yɛ nyinaa ebom a ɛmrɛ no du a party ne bepagyaw ɛno ne awerɛkyikyi sɛm a miminyaayɛ sɛ me nso mesumu a mesumi emre bi bedu a ye be reward me eno ne ade edikan etosu mienu Yewura Mahmood Bawumia ene Ghana for kasai oni Ghana mabunu kasai okan gitum se oman no wa hohiehie mu oka gitum se ene isikasam huntutuye ene niema a wokoto ne boaye den ogitum FM oka sisu se Ghana mabunu ewo niema ha omo a na no wo mukogina abonten kan ho asem sansem na omo kan ye no omo nyina so ya gitum na aban no yina ye adwumaden sene be ya ohawo a mabunu no ewo mu no ohawo a Ghana fo wo mu no ye betimi ayi Ghana fo efrim etosubio Yewura Mahmood Bawumia say me Mahmood Bawumia ye frame Mahmood Bawumia me wo mani swade hu sabi obi ntafo mpa ye wo mo dako efri sabi ye funu ba akomu mpo no santafo no obi a won ndi swade hu no santafo na ye wo mo fri ye funu ba akomu no obi a won ani swade hu inti menso mani swade hu ni mani swade hu ni se Ghana sabi aduane a yedi mani swade hu ni se kwan a ye fa so ye niema mani swade hu ni se abefo niema abaso mani swade hu ni se emabunu be ye fapem ewo Ghana man chichirim making the youth the center of my government, the center or the fulcrum for innovation. O Cambro Fukasa be say leveraging technology to build our economy. Onunso neniswa di hono no. And we di hon komo. Etosu biu abana ye koto ye no eyi bibi kire yen. The abani yi kire yen ne say yen party ni mu no. Ejina fa eni afa. Nipa ne bi wo mu a eye se ye ne omu di nkomo. Obi se obetena ha na wo ka se sebe MPP apati ni mu ana onye no kwafo. Abato na ye koto ye no. Abato no one of the messages are eba ye no say there is apathy in the party. Nipa bi bonyo niema bi so. Niema ba ku mienu miensan bi nipa bi bonyo so. Enti ye se party no efa sa asem no se eya asem a eso ne hia ayese ye ho adwuma. Mampanyin abedi akire kan ho asem. Eno ne nka bomu asem a na oye den all kan. Economy ne de maka. Enti sa niema we ene nsem a omampanyin abedi akire brobro so chirechire mu. But ayemede se party no omampanyin abedi akire a ene wabeye party ni kandifo gitu mu se oman no wa hohiehie mu. Ene wo hwe reporter KPMG dia ba o se Ghana sesei yebetimi aka se yasesi kwantene ne nso bio. O hwe na no be se bosumi ni IMF joint press conference omo be ye omo se Ghana sesei yenya hotoso se mu se si kwantene ne so. O hwe Fitch a mo downgrade ye to junk status a ene Fitch say Ghana musika sem no mu se si kwantene ne so. Inti ebe peja mu. Ti anu disem ne say yenim se economy no it is a major factor in this election. It is not lost on us. And yet lost on the government and yet lost on our new leader. Say the economy is a major factor. Obi enchekra omampanyin abedi akire ne Ghana fo nyina abedi nkomo. na this wade hunu ne de brofo kasa me be kasa wade the broader aspect ne na ye den etudwa obekom
Asempa FM.
no akire akwa ahoro a obefa so nhihye ahoro a obefa so enema a wade begu akwan mu se yekase leveraging technology a asekire ne sen yekase building systems asekire ne sen yekase building a modernized economy asekire ne sen yekase ensuring food security asekire ne sen yekase ye ma mabunu abeye fapem ewa Ghana mamu mu asekire ne sen wade san nhihye ni nyina beba adwuma da yanim party no yagitum aban no yagitum ena kandini na nanso waba no wagitum me ka hye rade no monyam se o no so ani so ade hu he has his leadership style. Now within the next few months no Ghana fo be hu the nipa ban a oye and the leader that he is nti e da nyame ase
Very well.
set we abrewa yi puma kwan mu na ne party no enya kandini den hihye egu akwan mu nyina begu ne aka party fo ni nyina abom me dia maka me say si ye adwuma yie na ye kambo mu a no party in this country will be able to defeat the MPP. Your biggest enemy is apathy. MPP, your biggest enemy is disunity and apathy. See, it means solve disunity. It means solve apathy issue. You bet me a koyanim. Nanyanko pombe yadom. Amen kunim dienso.
Very well. Kofi Tonto, any attending kind of government spokesperson, member of the Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia campaign team. Atik, primary over, the party has a new leader. We're delivering the first speech to the party for matters arising. Me and you.
Yeah. You can, my main book, MPP party opinion for number so. Me can say. The only way they would have a stress-free post-election political party, and they say, "Omunina beye, omo di peri obeye juma," because and I made the point that losing an election is not fun. Yeah, and so we'll be investing the sika and the time, the energy, the name there to run a campaign. Now at the end of the day, he feels say he's cheated. Yeah, accepting the outcome no a hard journey, and for in such situations, you know, reconciling all competing parties becomes very difficult. But with the aims of much say near a month for and drawing from the experience of the super delegates conference, you know, or who say, look, going forward, we need to do things much better than we did, and I think it found expression in the orderly organization of the elections, no. And Obia, I think even losing parties, although Omuluzi, you know, they were like, look, this is a process we can be proud to have participated in, because now it was fairly free, transparent, and you know, and what have you. Nti mebo mabaso. Again, having said so, the competing parties, and I have always maintained that this was a two-horse race. The others came to spice the contest, and they didn't even spice it well enough. Not that we don't count. At least, you know, there's a saying in my language, say, "Won't me mbu be at least." So to me, chuchini jesse. When we grow man, you be a jesse. What you say?
Dr. Free
Flat, so not the firm team. I mean, that is with all due respect to his efforts. But Mifi said it was a two-man contest, and the results actually show. Na Obia Bobo no Homodin, and I said, say he might not win, but he would do his best.
Yeah,
was Canada Japan. Indeed, true to that. Wachere say he's an asset to the party. He's a force to reckon with. You can't discount him. You can't wish him away.
Sure.
He's grown to become the next block.
Yeah.
In the MPP.
Yeah.
And the interesting thing about MPP is over the years, you know, after every major
election,
presidential election, two blocks emerge.
It is here and the Bawumia block
and the Kennedy block. You can't wish it away,
whether you like it or not.
It has come to stay. The Allen block has faded into irrelevance.
Sure.
Now you have the Kennedy block, and that is a big deal.
Yeah.
In fact, say about didn't cry the castle and yadi kuma. What I say, and I think he was also very reconciliatory in defeat. You know, Oka said, even though but Ojitum, because the process was fair and Nyekika na wa Shebo se Obebua, whoever has emerged the winner. No? And he deserves some respect. And Minyahu anyway, maybe I'm yet to come across that. But I think because of the kind of performance that Oputi happened, it's difficult for anybody to even ridicule him. No, he's actually humble.
Sure.
And that for me is a sign of a good warrior. So even if you lose the battle, but at least you earn the respect of your opponents. So this captain led a good battalion. Even though yet to me we need due to some technical alagbages, but at least he put up a very good fight. That is worth commending. And his attitude post the election, for me, is even much more significant. He came across as Obia, who is willing to stay in the ship and help fix things, and that for me is a sign of statesmanship. To the Bia who lose the election now, all kinds of weird ideas creep into your head. And I'm like I mentioned this last week. When I lost Nook's elections, all kinds of weird ideas. I mean, all kinds of weird ideas come into your head. Because in that moment, you know, you need to be a man to be able to manage the defeat. Especially when you feel you gave it your all. What am I saying? Now, having said so, my member near Ora Dr. Bomeka, and for me that is the climate. I mean, that's the highlights of the event.
His speech,
you know.
Yeah.
Even though it was greeted with low morale, low morale, I don't know why that was, and some noisy, irritating hype men in the name of MCs. I mean, it was just needlessly cacophonous and annoying. Obia person my hype.
There were so many microphones around,
and everybody became a hype man.
It was irritating.
I mean, to listen to and to watch. And that stage, it was. I mean, that is something I think they need to work on going forward. Other than that, they did very well with the entire organization. But hype men now on backstage now
because the speech was loaded and they had to allow people to listen.
Exactly. But hype man. I mean, why? What is here? There are times and in America and it's not everywhere you do your hype man job. There are some places at least you allow people to listen or watch the Ekosiisen. But otherwise it was well organized. Now the speech, you know. Okabibia, for me, it was striking. And that is a symptom of a smart man who is ready to bring about a paradigm change. Look, ordinarily, you would see that as, and I would misinterpret that to mean ingratitude. But like I said, look, I have a vision of my own. And I'm going to be a man of my own.
And I have my own priorities.
Absolutely. Look, it is very telling. Sar's statement was very telling. It was pregnant. And I'm sure very soon we will see the offsprings of that pregnant statement. On the priorities, there are things right now the president of today considers priority. Priority.
Absolutely.
What he say? And there are other things he personally would disagree with. But he's not the man in the driver's seat.
Sure.
He's just the conductor. Until near drive baby a driver and do beko na esa wosoko. But on also one dreamy and an him the officer might be distinct from near Cecia Ewosui. And he's assuring everybody listening and watching say, do not think that I'm going to be an extension of the present arrangement. You're my best, and that's a sign of a smart leader. Because Nana Cecia is a terrible news. A bad news cry. What he has here. Until he needs to show, say, I'm not going to be an extension of this tragedy.
This terror.
Is this, I'm telling you. Until for those of you who are Bontin, you want to associate with a certain type of new vision, no? You are assured, say, that new vision is coming. Because Ghana for Duduana are disillusioned. Nana Addo in his second term has been bad news. And Ghana for Buefu. And look, Kofi Krakai.
Hey, make I say, then I'm kind.
Also, the vice president admitted Saman Fobu F, which is
no,
legitimate.
and that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
He's admitted in his submission, said
Sure.
that exists.
Sure.
And he spoke, said, Obi Obeka said apathy will not set in the MPP. Obua.
Yes.
And what is the cause of the apathy? It's a function of something. They've lost hope in the Nana Addo administration. What is here? And if Uba coming from that kind of arrangement, you need to show to Ghana for and party Manu say, I'm not going to be business as usual. And I'm not going to continue, I'm not going to further this tragedy. I am probably going to end it and begin to inspire some hope. Because anyone a bit me abuano. That's why I know cause we any cause we obey to obey and say video.
What the form team?
Tim. What I say, oh the form. And before Angasa will tell you said, ne cause we dear answer son your dear. Young Betchery in 2024. And he set the tone for that to happen. Until very soon, my expectation is that he would begin to serialize and present his vision in a more concise and crispy manner. Who say, oh, even though he's a vice president, which really and truly, if you ask me, is a nebulous position. He has no meaning. So our position, vice president, means apart from the constitution recognizes only one rule for you.
Yes.
Chairman of the police council. Beyond that, sebi. Near president, baby, over small. You become like an errand person for the president. But conventionally, almost see
the president have a vice president.
He did not.
Okay.
Kuruma didn't need one. What you say? And conventionally, you are creating this EMT. Now, yeah, man, I say, oh, because you have no role in law, no, beyond being a chairman of the police council, whatever that means. Would the EMT name him? But a whole crown, wouldn't need to me be out.
No.
What the finance minister decides is what happens. So now, so Dr. Bobman has been unfortunate. When the finance minister performs badly, now the suborn airborne because
we're chair of the EMT, and you were during campaign you became
were
the economic poster boy.
Absolutely.
For your party.
So that's his tragedy.
Yeah.
Say, Mino, I came into the picture with some expertise, and I used that expertise to project a certain mindset. Say, me ba ya economy analysis kasem tutu no. Ebe ye be shemukina.
So what really propelled his party to victory has become his personal Achilles heel.
That absolutely, because man, even though they've given him a title, but title does not allow him to do the kinds of things that are not per se. Oh yeah, and I'll give an example. Ilevi, Obia, and we spoke to the fact said, or Obia who wants to leverage technology for economic growth.
Sure.
Look, every and any economist will tell you say. Now, your car, factors that determine, differences in incomes across countries. No. Ebimujidi said the only element and our variable that makes the difference is technical progress and our technological advancement. What must here?
Yes.
And he recognizes that, and also look, let's leverage on technology. We are very far away from the technology frontier. We need to get close. How do we do that? By leveraging technology in kakran, we can get to that point. And once you get closer, it means your economic growth and your kind of saying, our economy is no a better pong. And he recognizes that into Onyo Bia who would want to place tax on the very technologies he wants us to adopt.
To leverage.
And to digital technologies like mobile money transfer. He felt that look, once there is, of course, that technology has diffused already, but we need to adopt it on a large scale. Once there is massive adoption of that digital technology, you are solving many problems. You're complaining, say a lot of Ghanaians are not in the formal sector, like in the banking, you can say when it comes to financial inclusion, but mobile money transfers and now Momo transactions. Exactly. So it's a way of financially including the otherwise excluded, which is very good. Secondly, because it makes transaction easy and and so on and so forth. The second one, would have become very used to technology Because see I obi a person or mobile money no, you need to be familiar with the usage of a phone first. Until nyina no e bie nkrofo ani until as the adoption widens no, you can use the phone to do other things. You can use it to access other technologies, other applications and so on and so forth. Until idea eboa. Until okasa the leveling of that digital technology. As the EMT, the head of the EMT, you would expect say, oh, you did not be ejuma. Finance minister can say, Masa, oh, the idea some okay. And okoye.
But how do you know the finance minister Kasa?
Oh, you see the implication. I mean, Kasa.
Okay.
You see the implication is you don't need to know the exact words of okay, but the action actually. Because the man publicly spoke against the levying of mobile money transactions.
Prior to
the introduction. And have you ever heard Dr. Mahmoud Baumia speak on e-levy ever since it was passed?
No.
Exactly. What must here? Now, so finance minister said, "Oh, this is the way. This is the Hakuna Matata. Once this comes, everything BBR best. You see, people can even marry for free. What is here?
Yeah.
Because e-levy was seen as the solution to all our crime. Our problems in this country, according to the finance minister. A view that the vice president did not share. And he says here he needs to present in clear terms, going for this is my vision. And now, because Ghana folk are going to judge him based on Ono and in the vision, not what Akufo-Addo and his finance minister have done.
You think so?
You see, he needs to. Of course, there are some other things they will associate him with because he's part of the government. But me see, if voters ever assess sinner, they're not going to assess him based on the leadership qualities of Akufo-Addo.
Sure. That would not even be fair.
If that were the case, I'm one quarter or bear lose him. So he needs to tell Ghana for them, judge me based on me, assess me based on me. And how do you assess me based on me? This is my
what
vision.
I'm presenting to you.
What is here? And do not think that I'm going to be an extension of Akufo-Addo until I'm going to be a man of my own.
But would it be an easy road to walk? Because
it's not going to. It's going to be tough.
From the speech. In the speech, you realize the challenges with the economy.
Yeah, absolutely.
Sympathized with the Ghanaian people.
Yeah.
Measures of what put in place some signs of recovery. And that's where he ended and said, but I would have different priorities.
Exactly.
I would have a new vision.
This is smart man.
I'll be my own man.
Yes.
But he said
because there are some priorities that are delaying our recovery.
Even before he came to priorities, said with 1 year to go to the end of the term, I will still support my boss, the president.
He's still in government.
Yeah, until when you are still in government, now starting pushing narrative, you are bringing something different. How do you marry?
You see, his support for his boss is for him to quietly finish the 1 year and go to sleep. What is it? But in helping him, he needs to tell the Ghanaian people, say, me the ideas from Kubiba, which are not your usual Akufo-Addo Kenuforiata ideas.
Ideas are the amame boss one fa.
On Kanasa. Now, office of Kanasa. Obeka say, I have different priorities.
Okay.
And embedded in that statement is the fact say some of the priorities he disagreed with.
Okay.
What is here?
Okay.
And for me, and only the magnet that will attract people who feel say, look, we admire you as an individual, but the ticket is not doing that which it promised.
Okay.
What is different about you? And in your is going to be that magnet.
Okay.
And also, Jitum says it's going to be a tough battle. 2024 is no joke. What is here? Of course, when he was in opposition, maybe he was under the mistaken belief, say, once he's taken as the economic poster boy, Oba
will be given the opportunity.
Yes.
Okay.
And your Kansembi. Now, with the mess Kenuforiata has sent all of us into, he is going to be unfortunately answerable for the mess of Kenuforiata. What must I say? And it's going to be any better man. But Mijidi said the way of Washas trying to show that there will be a paradigm shift. Priorities are going to be different, and of course, Ebimwadwin is we bad here is going to be an extension of Akufo-Addo. or catch him when you say and yes, and have that faith in him, son of Pache, assess me based on me. And based on me, no, any near me to and going to 2024, it's about what you're going to do for the people from 2025 onwards. Of course, people would always want to look at your history. Then I'm why unto me in whom free completely. But he has an explanation. And like I said, that role of a vice president is bogus.
And he's not been president before, as it were.
Exactly. What he has here. Until our excuse kakra. But Niebema Nkrofo Enye Jide Wonmu is the quality of the vision he's going to present.
And how he explains it.
How he explains it. And how that in many sense, I mean many respects, ebe difa kakra from near Yehui. What he has here. And Niebe Timama Agrana de Amano. Because people would then begin to say, okay, let's compare Nyodiabai with that of his opponent. But so one time presentee vision that has that quality.
A compelling vision.
He would be forced to rely on the rather uninspiring performance of his boss. And then if you could do what the anagers are grown there upon, Jugon, what is here? Now, I'm in the way enter to.
Okay.
He's also going, his work is going to be either tougher or less so, depending also on Nipa or Bebuan.
As running mate.
Okay. And also Tima or for me. There are
you mean the campaign team?
There are a lot of hangers on in that office. You can see that these people are people who are doing opportunistic calculations.
Yeah.
They are not looking at how do we help him to get there. But their calculations are already over. He needs to be mindful of such people.
Okay.
On Frankrofo, who are willing and ready to help advance his vision, work hard for him to win whatever he wants to win. Now, as for Niebebe in the Ebeba, but for now he needs to conform on my own say, we can explain and we are willing to help you explain your vision to the Ghanaian people. As for Nkrofo, look, they say success has many
friends.
Everybody wants to be associated with the Bawumia success story. Until everybody's they are trampling on one another. Baby, really and truly, they are doing, some calculations of what to expect in the coming days. He needs to be mindful of those people. Very, very mindful. Otherwise, Akufo-Addo suffered a similar thing in 2008. I'm not sure he wants to repeat that tragic history. Until on to hopeful. Now, of course, people think that the way are gentle, meek, friendly, and so on. People sometimes think
that today.
Me say in the coming days, the bold statement of, oh yes, I'm going to be a man of my own. It should send signals to some jokes around him. Say, look, maybe some of you might not have a role to play, or even if you do, it will not be the kinds of roles you anticipated. Now, finally, running meeting, some permutations and some analytical I think that to a large extent, some of the names, but was a mubo or so forbidden, almost or
and you don't know Peden or Nidia up.
No enemy bisa also for Swanka.
Does it names about they won't mention the country name Naba
or MPP?
I don't know.
No. Now Masai was taken as a technocrat. Now, Papa, on what basis will he be included?
I don't know.
What is here? But media, I think his choice of a running mate is also equally crucial.
Ashanti region, should it be from?
It should be from. I mean, if you are, a smart analyst, you should know.
It's a no-brainer.
It's a no-brainer. I mean, you expect him to go to a Volta region. I mean, that would be a direct stabbing in the heart. What was here? And go where you can maximize your comparative advantage. And the Ashanti region is the place. But the question is who? So far, there are some few names I think would not be bad. What was here?
Yeah.
And I say this with no interest in whoever becomes his running mate.
Of course.
But I think objectively speaking, Oranapo stands a much better chance in the sense that Oyobia who can complement the efforts of the vice president.
Yeah.
But of course, he also needs to work on certain things.
Absolutely.
There are some other, deficits he needs to work on.
Yeah.
That goes without saying.
Yeah.
But we share his relationship with party, his contribution to the party. Look, politics are party people draw to people who are generous, people who are willing to sacrifice their own happiness to solve your problem. If you have such a person partnering the vice president, and yet difficult for grassroots no
to jump on board.
Exactly. That is one. Two, which so far the ministries has been handled. He's done very well in those in both ministries.
Yeah.
That can't be same cannot be said for many ministers. Ebimu and only God knows what is holding Ora Akufo-Addo from changing them. Ebimu omo bonu turkas, omo gusu bonu turkas. What I say, but or no at least. But for him, anyone na pension or free education by.
Sure.
Anka fanze obonu turkas the same ministers he be say anka nko yi. And energy he's doing well.
Yeah.
What must say? And he's somebody who can relate very well with some of the key players in the MPP. Only Kennedy Japan, I've heard Kennedy say he has very good relationship with him. That the rapprochement is very strong. You need Obisa to attract Kennedy because, like it or not, say Baumia per se, winning and he wants to make a headway in the next election. Kennedy must be given an important role,
key role,
very key role, and you need somebody onine ewasa, so together they can work. Free parliament. These are my initial thoughts on this. And congratulations to him once again.
Very well.
He worked hard. Kennedy worked equally hard. But of course, the delegates said they can only settle on one. But this idea of monetizing our elections and campaigns, call it whatever, TNT and so on, averagely, if you are given 400 cities, that's 80 million.
83 million.
Master, that's good money by all accounts in any part of the world. Now, internal prime is Nasika say
830 billion old cities.
Now, many elections in this way. And me deep party paying for no. Who ya elections say obi faka fi baby a ewechiri woman 50 cities. Why then now about ako?
Na party no about 50 cities or more first kind of thing.
Look, now would the mammy be say Sasika be real Mukofan free. And your party for none is a contributor. The party could raise it and say, look, no candidate should give TNT. We are giving TNT, maybe 100 cities or have a capping. Realistic and reasonable capping. But one year you open the room, me a candidate, one more big TNT and so no Nipanaba. You think I'll just knowing send near Mudiaman and so no, I'll pretend say media me person so that young can say I'm inducing people to me manska. Who the men manage? So the party's arrangement gave that room or created sa room no, for candidates to be exploited. I don't think that it was rather the candidates exploiting the delegates. It was the other way around. To the extent that delegates could threaten say Muhammad is gonna into Abanibi. They were holding the candidates to ransom. And it's all because of the party's arrangement.
I take my men say lawyer Chum Berema my intio. In somewhere in May, I think. Somewhere in May, and Nyamea Dumuyi mo a flag bearer, I think. November MPP for also a now all is set for an interesting election next year. Eto saying,
well, the only person in their group I'm recommending is
Kennedy Japan.
Yeah, I think for him,
on one I'll be born abaso.
They don't deserve any recommendation from me, but Kennedy is our commending because when Simonto, but we started this thing way back 2017. I know. 2017. I know I started underground to today. He said, "We spend 7 good years to build on or to work on your ambition. You know, I could 61%. With me, based my performance." What do compare will be on not less than a year. Kennedy at the end of checking I think about 6 months ago. In 1 year.
You want to start here check?
No, 1 year. No, 1 year.
So it's over 1 year.
What declared the intentional comprehensive is over 1 year.
1 year. 1 year because initially he wasn't even serious. That's how initially he wasn't serious. Kennedy to me only became serious after on first round. To me, he only after on first one. I mean,
August 26th.
Who was the second? No, a honeymoon and answer the spirit and of course. Look, I say,
but you know the work he did to play second.
Missing me minister.
Okay, that's fine.
Okay, you give me because me one more first one. Me man, by maximum 10.
Okay.
Maximum 10 because now I mean most people were and as a mere come to as much. It's a 10 year on Mumbai. I mean, won't change position away by 2, away 3. To be honest, I was very surprised. And the Honma who said he would do some kind of wonders in the main one. and after so who had on no koran ne sama no canoa na ahotoso wo mu chen I mean but me didn't say anything when it was going around one country ya antwe oh then I was talking he didn't say anything meaningful to me. What does it? But at least can now things in now what can now I mean what say now I mean in the videos in the never want here on delegates in the woman or who say no about by ye. No, most of the regions you could do our share the or up to could do no for something. You were talking about establishing I think a share attack factories or whatever over there. In that what can you know, but I mean you didn't hear any of this from any of the aspirants. And I think I learned to brought some 10-point agenda or something on the other day. GTP, yeah. So on the other day he left. So I mean on the end cannot be factored in again. But you want to film one. I cannot there. I mean you answer until the film. So I know there. I knew very well. Me catch many Dennis Asia on us at Adum FM the Tuesday before the weekend.
Okay.
He was projecting that 70% there. Because then say I told him.
Right.
Dennis.
I said last week.
Yeah. Me can say NC. But we will never get the 70%. You will get below that. The person that you not meant to me exactly what he was going to get, but me can say 75 the winner because. What's that to 80% in the first round? First round, I now dominate because control more much of the money. We are going to 80 and up. You can even get 70. Second one, no, I mean, grassroots, when I want to know their way of thinking is not the same as the top. You think you can, a woman never be American. So, me, a hard enemy who say what you mean, you know, and I wasn't surprised he got that 61%. If I view when you're below back, when you're below 61 back, because, I was in Cape Coast that day now, no more trouble.
Okay.
Me back once na me monitor results. I was listening to you.
Yeah.
Now when some two professors been there. Eti Osha results na ban say there na I mean ACT na enye me nwa say. And na first na mama hu say senka ala so tena mu a. Anka hwe anko second round. Sunday hono. Because the weight me pull it 39% or 39 right? 37 point something, almost 38%. Edia. That is like a whole bam going to 20 cramp and that's 15 beer. That is automatically and second round I come back on. So that's it.
I think they all have the same constituency, more like
yes.
But
Sly money when they declared
no, I mean those are
but I mean in all honesty, independent be ever shifted to left and right. Sure. I mean there's nothing to show there. Woman you could no. Even they may sympathize with Baumia and go and vote for Baumia. So what I say. But me mom dear, to be very honest with you, some catch or some would do that about me one. Personally, I can't have any belief.
Were you expected to say otherwise?
Oh, I mean, may not you.
I don't want to make us all with you.
You see, my reason is not based on
partisan considerations. No. Okay.
My reason is I don't buy into that idea. It's not true. And not where then live there. Why are you wasting our time? So why are you wasting our time? Why are we paying you?
It's the constitution.
You see, no. Don't say that. Then there's no need to even create deputy ministers, because you almost need maybe the work is given to the ministers, and the minister rather decide to give us some role to play. So what I say, and so I can then woman for so no so yen woman few.
We also need deputy ministers.
And no woman for so no so. So what I say, Obi. But in reality, and when the first year the Jawa na ye dia so. And when say by no so emia. The constitution anticipates that man about 4 million na your board in the can was a yenya abadi chire. And it's not just Ghana. It's not just Ghana. Okay? In this awomba, na so you have a say, oh, and a vice president in the road, no constitution and can be in 1 year, or said I will never buy that. I said, well, okay, by convention. The running of the country's economy. Who is a leader? Obia would be an a massive blame of the economy problem. Adam Macanafrat and I'm moving from my am I being fair? Ken is a member of that committee. Tenye, yes, he's the finance minister. Nobody disputes that. But we're a member of that committee now. I can what's and I'm going to remember. The Agric Minister automatically becomes a member. Energy Minister automatically becomes a member. Trade Minister becomes a member. Among other people, they may deem Bank of Ghana governor as a member of the EMT. Must say the answer you coordinating. I mean, the economic policies and so on and so forth. I say, minus yes, you were described as the economic maestro by the president. And I do. Definition of the we economic maestro. When it comes to that aspect of governance now, it has nothing to think about because and it's when you are in a position, a dress animal will be uncle wouldn't need Jama Sabranabedi. And pass what me doing when Mukasa at Togana for Akuma and no matter. And Mombaji would say, you can do it and do it well. It's Yefamon. What by a notion I was started when I was started by kicking some young was on partner was over years on part. That is why you came to make a pronouncement and said, don't and what's in the sea. As Santa what is a woman? He was there when we were saying that. I understand you anyway. Don't worry. So what I say, you are saying all this for people to believe that yes, when you are working. Now we are doing on so. Because when you say now maybe why become to come and tell us I know what to see. Because you knew you were doing something.
Interesting.
All right, you knew you were doing something, and then you get to a point that when the vice president speaks, he contradicts his own self. Let me give you an example. Employment. How many jobs this government has created? Now, Nasemini. I say. This was on the 27th of April 2023, sorry. Baumia provides data on the 2 million jobs created by the MPP government since 2017. April 2023, as I'm making. The same person, BMT. This was in August 13th, 2020. MPP government has created over 2 million jobs. Baumia. 2020 we created over 2 million jobs. 2023 was we created 2 million jobs from 2017. So which is which? Which is which? And no be like asama wo nyes speech out mo bi so kan na okasin ba ko no wrongly. This is you talking. 2020 month over 2 million. 3 years after go to 2 million. So then never nyaduma.
There was net zero increase. It's possible.
Wasn't it?
Net zero increase.
All right. So then, yeah. So if there was net zero increase, now listen. This is the minister for your friends say employment and then the labor relation, right? Honorable Ignacio, is it Bawa? Bafu. Thank you. Honestly, this is 2022 September 16th. Reported by my journal online, Moamu Station. Government creates over 5.3 million jobs.
What's the cancer?
The employment minister.
Okay, share the link with me.
Oh, my mouse was missing my journal online. Just check it now.
So what link? Send me online.
I don't need to say anything. Google it and you find
what numbers and the link.
So the point here is that Bobby country. Say employment minister abone dia wo twam across wo dia na multiply by 2 and over. Wo na mu as vice president now so koka sign no so wo can be 3 years back my different figure. 3 years after you are giving a different figure. So you are not a man that we can trust. It is a now say over time I catch them say wo was say wo vision and you are think that you are going to different like me to me it's a lie. Because there are 1,001 things that I can sit here and cite what can and then no correct.
Asempa FM.
You told us and every other Ghanaian, Kennedy kind, was so say when the fundamentals are weak, the exchange rate will expose you. He used it during his campaign. Okay, as an economist. I've done one some 2 by 4 economics video, but not into this as yours. What kind of say? Now, Uba Nay. The dollar was not even up to 4 cedis. But you're making us feel say we don't deserve that less than 4 cedis. Not even 4 cedis in Impuyin deserves far better than that, which means a lower rate. It's a no better now. na se na dollar nam 12 cities and over now ka tell me say wo de na wo ye vice president ntino and when na wonni who control it wonni who control obi say bo amani ensoa no many people I think it's in another is what no I mean I'm trying to quote you me best me quote you wrongly what's another by there like so what I say what's a tragedy
in the second term
so what I say so if Nanado's government is now being tagged as a tragedy you are part of that tragedy. When one man and so I didn't want to you.
You can't say when you're shuffle, no, I know about me and I
hold on. I just needed a word. Remember? I was inviting you. Thank you. I wanted to go to run because why can't you? Okay. So what does it? To a no going to mean yet. Who by you? I think because I take a track running mate to myself. Urging and asking somebody who can partner you well to meet certain aspirations. Sani be none and none of what Mekaipa 2008 when your name was mentioned. You have the likes of PCIP for and Co. who stood strongly against your name that no, it should not be you. But Nana stood against all these men and said it should be you. Because no over GDP woman, like I said, he described you as the economic maestro. So if a maestro has now become a worse version, now I get them saying, no, the leader of the party, yes, party what more. But I say, Mr. Medical can say, I'm so team for can say, you say. Moko yi nipa de amana be dum party anim no kre mo hye obi esi mu kwan na mum wase mu nkwan de Ghana for pe nya de mo pe abi for mo pe ba o mia
wana na Ghana for pe
edu Ghana for mpe ba o mia
wana Ghana for pe
obi opa me sponsor that exercise what microphone tisi gro no nko yeso we ni family
I said Ghana for mpe ba o mia
me say what your sponsor
wana da bi to wana Ghana for pe
and your mama say and your party was me I'm just quoting
I feel how I say
tell me quoting am okay but media message na track without fee
okay
said Dr. Baumia can never convince me beyond any doubt say or no a better version of anything
okay
from Nakuva's government
okay.
My reason is very simple. What I'm for the chance so what baba ye bibi and you are you on one first person your friend say Gideon Boako abetra haya that the me refer back when I'm but na can right good na ye say about we na na so betra ase ni nkasa you can say odwuma wa ye na kyerese nti I say you moving from the vice level to become first.
Of course
na the dwuma na wa ye na me kyerese odwuma na wa ye bomb.
Of course.
Bomb.
I'm telling you, the new one is a bomb.
Obi, you see,
a bomb.
I'm telling you.
You see, Obi,
the man a bomb.
My main cancer, I'm sure.
You see,
that's what we.
How do you know? Because I was
Maybe
now we are
oh no, some me. No problem.
What I say? Tell me. What's in the Duma Waye? Let's take it one after the other. When they were going around, they were, citing some of, his witness role that he played in the Supreme Court and so on and so forth. Nobody in a campaign when they were going around. As telling delegates that, that sacrifice is enough for them to promote me. I don't care. That's your party anymore. But may can they benefit every time they can hurry in this country? The Bebo Ghana need better Okromuhan. And not the yes, I would number 2 in the performance and Sonny. If then someone working in the past, you stood on your grounds and said, say, every Tony Canary in this country is suffering. And what I bread, and my bread, teacher for bread will be a bread. Me, Busa will Nessa will be devised for efficiency. On what, manner? Are they happy? You said if we borrow too much, we will end up in the IMF. What took us to IMF today? Is it not borrowing? Excessive borrowing debt
by the finance minister.
You see, that is why I disagree with you, because it's a group, it's a team. Yeah, can't say government, NPP government, and I go for this government. Yeah, more kind of that time wedding. Yeah, mobile young wedding. But I never be an a group of people be a specific job. Is what I can police council say constitution the man or none. So police council and I say you blame me IGP. Why do you blame me? The police council will led by the vice president. What does it? It is economy minister you say your economic management team chair. Man penny be done. I want to see yes.
It's not illegal.
I know, I'm not saying this.
It's convention.
It's by convention. I've said it here.
I just say you are putting premium on the EMT,
Exactly.
even more than the finance ministry.
No, listen, Obi, I will continue doing that because listen, and then the biggest problem that we are facing as a country is our economy. Our economy problem. And Shaniye, so follow in the history of Ghana, did you ever see any vice president going to parliament when budget is being read? Aside Dr. Baumia.
But does it matter?
I'm just asking a very simple question. I think
that's Obian who are taking note of that.
So I have paid attention to that, and I can tell you that from 1982 to today, the only sitting vice president that will call parliament when budget is being read is Dr. Baumia.
So I didn't go to parliament.
We see from 92 to today.
You remember that?
Oh, I mean,
no, 92.
Okay, Inti, what's the point?
The point I'm making is that it tells you his interest
in economic
in
issues.
Okay. That his president that tells you his interest in it. Okay. With your interest, that's a never really saying. And now, all country I say, was say, yes, you can have your vision. But my point is, did you help somebody to achieve his own? Will you be happy that your vice president that you may find tomorrow also failed to disappoint? Failed to assist you to achieve yours as you have.
The president departed from his own vision. This is not the vision he sold to us.
You see, so if the president departed,
very well.
What's this the vision he sold to us?
What's it?
Nanado, is this the vision?
They
Lawyer
both sold visions to us.
Berema.
They both sold visions to us.
Obi, Mame
time. Wakasa more than 15 minutes.
Do you know how many minutes Atik spoke?
10.
Do you know how many minutes Atik spoke?
10.
Obi.
Around the same.
It wasn't around the same thing. Henceforth, when you come on Monday, I'll be timing him for.
Oh, no, I'm not timing yourself. You'll be timing me.
Obi, Mame can
lawyer Unye. So where we are now?
Obi, Mame can be.
No, the Unye now per 1 minute. I can give you.
Obi, you see, 5 million. I think 5 million jobs now. I took the time to read the story. What the minister was talking about was essentially government's direct and indirect impact. Ebia to say Obia BB now are creating indirect jobs, etc. So when you read it, it even talks about it. But you take the headline, yeah, what direct jobs are by creating, and yeah, what jobs are buying policies are driving. What you say? So, but we have 2 million jobs no. Oh, the ba now for now. Urefi said last 3 or 4 months ago, miracles by analysis no ha. Urefi, a church 2 million jobs in any BBR Urefi. I didn't know it was going to come up. We would have brought the data here. Emma Sami Jenfikra, the numbers be by my miracles. Ebe prove everything here. So jobs are somewhere. We'll bring the data again.
How many jobs have you guys created?
We'll bring the data. No problem. We'll bring the data. It's not a problem.
So next week we'll revisit it.
We can revisit it.
We can revisit it. It's going to get you accurate living figures.
Yes, so you need. We don't even have it to start.
So you see, when we are talking about admit that.
Admit what? Abrakobeka 2 million. Who admit it? Abrakobeka 2 million. Who admit it? Please pass.
This
Obi,
hold on now. We have created over 2 million jobs in our first term. MPP. Nanabi, like I said, this was time September 2020. So you guys are just confused.
When are you confused?
You guys are confused.
Minister,
you guys are confused.